So back in late March, Elon Musk took to the stage at its Hawthorne, California design studio, Tesla's that is, to finally unveil the Tesla 3. It's a four-door vehicle that the company hopes is going to help to bring electric cars to a more mass market audience. It starts at $35,000, has a range of 215 miles, scheduled to begin delivering to some of those who pre-ordered by the end of 2017. So still another year away. Tim, you were involved with kind of the official unveiling. What was the general reaction from people who were there for this eagerly awaited announcement?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be there for the unveiling, and that was a pretty amazing event. It was, I think, the event that made me realize just how strong the loyalty for Tesla is. It really felt like going to an Apple event. You know, I've been lucky enough to cover a lot of iPhone launches over the years, and the buzz that I was seeing on Twitter and on other social networks that night was as strong as I've seen, you know, at those iPhone launches, iPad launches, that kind of thing. And that was pretty remarkable. But of course, this is a very different product, and instead of saying you'll be able to go to your Apple store in 2 weeks and buy it, it was give us your money now and maybe you'll get one in 2 years. That's a very different sort of story. But still, the amount of pre-orders they got on that car, you know, shattered records. The amount of money they raised that night is pretty amazing. And the amount of hype around that car is absolutely remarkable. But yeah, I was lucky enough to go for a very brief ride in the car that night, and everything that I saw at the time looked very nice. It was still a very early prototype, of course, but the car looks beautiful. It's a more svelte, tighter design than the Model S, which I think is a little bit bulbous from certain angles. It's noticeably smaller, but still very comfortable inside. The performance should be great. We've seen an updated range figure from Elon Musk since then. That's going to be well over 200 miles on a charge, which is great. And overall, it seems like it's going to hit the right marks. But of course, the only question is, when are we actually going to see them on the roads?
Have the kind of the news that's been hitting here and there about, you know, delays in shipment and that sort of stuff, is that affecting any of the anticipation of this? Or is it, because I mean, anytime you're talking about literally years down the line before you get this thing you paid for, I have to imagine that affects people in some ways. But I mean, is it negative?
Yeah, it definitely has been. You know, there was always a lot of skepticism around when this car is going to come out. Tesla's never really hit any of its own deadlines, and there's really no reason to believe that the Model 3 will be any different. So there was skepticism to begin with. And of course, this is a bit of a different situation because they weren't saying that everybody's going to get their car at the end of 2017. They're saying they're going to start delivering some cars. Right. And when you've given hundreds of thousands of pre-orders, and you've got to start to do the math and figure that a lot of people aren't going to see their cars until 2018 or maybe even later. So as we've read about delays at the Gigafactory, which is their major battery manufacturing facility outside of Reno, Nevada, and other production headaches and that kind of thing, you know, there's definitely a lot of reason to believe that if indeed they do get some cars out by the end of next year, which I think they will, they'll be very limited in numbers, and ultimately the majority of the people who pre-ordered their cars are probably looking at 18 months or more from now before they can even think about actually getting a car.
Am I remembering correctly that your wife ordered one, or did I make that up?
She did, yes. She was messaging me during the event, asking me if she should go for it or not. And I was like, it looks pretty cool to me, but go ahead and do what you want to do. But she did ultimately pre-order one, and her parents also pre-ordered one, which was pretty interesting to me because they are very fiscally conservative people, and to put down $1,000 on something that's a couple years away was pretty interesting to me. But it kind of shows the amount of excitement that there is for some really genuinely new means of transportation.
Yeah.
And so, does she have any idea when she's going to get it? There's no word?
No, I mean, if you're one of the very early people to actually go into stores and pre-order, then you were kind of given some indication of where you fell in the ranking. But if you did an online pre-order later that day, they haven't even given out any kind of number to indicate where you fall. So really, it was a matter of looking at the ticker that was going kind of crazy live on their site and guessing where you were when you pre-ordered. But they haven't given any updates or any sort of indication to anybody. So it's still a lot of guesswork at this point.
And if if she changes her mind and buys something else, you get your money back, right?
Yes, you can get your money back. It's a little unclear whether or not you can actually sell your position in line. I've seen some debates and discussions on that. I'm honestly not clear whether that's possible. But yes, you can get your money back if you choose not to pre-order them.